So, what we've talked about this before.
Yep.
Just tell me a little bit about what drove you to for your candidacy in these
Sure.
elections.
Look, it's not a simple or short-term process. A few years ago, I had the responsibility and privilege to represent the grain industry in Canberra, and when I was doing that job, I really learned how poorly we're represented. The standard of the political representation just is desperate, and we're not going to get a better deal until we get a better standard of political representation, full stop. We can't fix what's broken if they're not willing to acknowledge that it's broken.
Yeah.
So, in a very long process, we ended up creating an alternative political structure because that's what we need. You fight fire with fire, we need to fight parties with a party. And the decision for this election really was that as difficult as it was with as short a notice as possible, g'day mate, how are you? With as short a notice as possible, we needed to stand in the election and sell the message and talk to people. And the best outcomes from politics have come from competition. We can get a better deal if the seat's regarded as marginal, if it's not a sure thing. The poorest political service is to seats that are safe seats.
So when you say that you can get the best results from a marginal election, does that mean that you don't really care if you win or lose, you just want to be close?
It has to be a contest.
It has to be a contest, so whether you win or you lose, as long as it's close, you don't mind.
Well, I think the mission's accomplished as long as it's close. If the powers that be in Canberra or Macquarie Street or wherever it happens to be realise that they can't take the seat for granted, then they'll give it much better political consideration.
And you'll be a happy man regardless of the outcome, as long as it's a close outcome. You still feel like a winner.
I think the job that we've got to do is to participate. You can't sit at home and complain about the state of politics if you're not prepared to engage in it. So we've already, by every measure, we are participating. We are able to participate. But yeah, look, the end result here is that whoever the incumbent or the sitting member is, they are much better able to leverage that office if they can demonstrate that they may not be here at the next election if they don't deliver. So ultimately the electorate will benefit if we can narrow that margin up. I mean, we are quite prepared to win. We've got policies and systems and mechanisms in place to be able to serve the community really well. We are fully connected and embedded in it, and it's our vested interest, and the structure that we build is all about community first. So at the end of the day, we have to be involved. We have to make it a competitive process. The best outcome for every constituent in the electorate, local government, and even being able to leverage the excellent work of the state member relies on the federal seat being contested and contestable.
You recently got into politics. Do you see yourself as a politician, or do you still feel like a farmer? You've got two hats now. How does it feel wearing the politician's hat?
I don't see myself as a politician at all. In fact, I'm one of the people most critical of the political process. So, embedding myself in it is difficult, but that's what needs to be done to try and fix it.
So you're entering a process that you're critical of, and you don't see yourself that much as a politician.
Let me explain that a bit better. And the answer to the question is, once upon a time, politicians were regarded as statesmen, and they were leaders, and that it was an honourable position. I think society has a much different view of politics today because that's not really what politicians are so much, and that is